PALS program launch.
Welcome to Ecoserv's launch of PALS, the high-five way to save lives. Please allow me some time to introduce myself. I am Jared Mono, a member of your EH&S support staff. It is an absolute pleasure, and I am extremely excited to spend some time with you today introducing our new platform of risk prevention. Our safety culture is on the forefront of day-to-day operations, and as an employee, your understanding and ability to execute your role is the most valuable part. PALS was designed with that in mind. It was designed to simplify safety and provide our employees with a cross-reference between the supporting written programs of our Safe Work Practices Manual and the visual icons of this program. If PALS was a mathematical equation, it would read as performance, accountability, life, and systems, which if you were to add all that together, we would get safe and sustainable. The program was built on the principle of caring. Caring for others in the work environment consists of your personal commitment and participation, your ability to emotionally support and drive influence, and everyone becoming partners in safety. As an organization, we maintain a continued caring focus on 4 systematic components which protects our 2 most valuable assets, our people and our permits. Our foundational 4 pillars of sustainable are safety and environmental adherence, quality, communication, and excellent customer service. The program groups 14 rules into 4 broad categories. Core rules were determined based off constant hazards, and supplementary rules were determined based off contextual hazards. Program adherence means you will hold yourself personally accountable and compliant every day and every time for every task. As a department, we believe that when you're part of a safe work environment, you will actively make a difference. When the environment is satisfactory, people are more attentive, approachable, and willing to effectively communicate. An effective communication is the key to our safe and compliant performance. That's pretty much caring 101. But if I was to comment on like what Theodore Roosevelt said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So today, my personal objective over this session is to introduce you to our program and then test your knowledge as it relates to the material being reviewed. That's right, at the end of this, there is a quiz. So let me say this, I thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to being your pal in risk prevention.
As a member of the management team, we are continuously focused on protecting our 2 most valuable assets, our people of the company and our permits, in which allow us to provide a wide range of services for which we are known. Success could not be achieved without a constant focus on these 2. Therefore, the foundational pillars of protecting these assets focus on safety and environmental adherence, quality of work, clear and effective communication, and excellent customer service. The PALS program focuses on tools and rules. The tools are mainly cultural driven. So you may ask, what is a culture? Well, I've once read that a culture is described as a system of expressive practices fraught with feelings, a system of symbols, and or a learned set of shared interpretations about beliefs, values, and norms which affect the behaviors of relatively a large group of people. In a summary of this one could say a culture is linked to communication, a wide range of human experiences including feelings, identity, and a meaning making. Communication is the vehicle by which meanings are conveyed. Identity is composed and reinforced, and feelings are expressed. The group becomes like-minded with an approach of similarities. This is PALS, Partners in Protection of People and Permits. Let's spend some time and review our 10 cultural tools. Cultural tool number 1, look after each other. Safety and health is a team effort. Health and safety is about people. It's about practical steps to protect people from real harm and suffering, and it's about engendering a culture whereby at Ecoserv, we look after and out for each other every day, every time, and for every task. Culture tool number 2, plan your work and work your plan. Think before you engage into any activity and evaluate all of the risk. Understanding what can harm you, your coworkers, or the company is only half of this battle. As an employee, you are required to assess your workplace to determine the hazards and create a safe environment. Circumstances can and do often change as you embark on the sequences of a task, so always think about potential risk before you start work and continuously evaluate risk during the task. It is important to remember that health and safety is about risk management, not risk aversion. It is about taking sensible precautions and utilizing safety systems. It's fundamentally about saving lives and sustainable growth. Culture 2, number 3. Act safely. Follow safe working procedures and hold yourself personally accountable. Always follow the company's safety procedures, best management practices, and or the client's guidelines in your workplace. If you feel they are inappropriate, not accurate, or you have any concerns, utilize stop work authority and inform your direct supervisor or a representative of the safety department immediately. Culture 2, number 4. Workplaces are to be kept to a clean and compliant standard. Good housekeeping is important. Keeping workplaces clear and tidy can prevent many of the more common hazards, such as a slip or tripping fall accident, fires, etc. Routinely inspect pathways for any tripping hazards and clear up any spillages immediately after they occur. Culture 2, number 5. Proper apparel for the task and environment worn properly at all times. Properly assessing hazard requires you to address safety clothing such as a Tyvek suit, eye protection, proper gloves or respirator, etc. Such has been designated for your task, and you shall wear it and ensure that you understand how to correctly use, care, and store the PPE provided. These layers are your last line of defense in regards to injury prevention. Culture 2, number 6. Properly report all occurrences. Examples are incidents, at-risk behaviors, unsafe conditions, near misses, and also accidents. Research has shown that on average for every major injury at work there are up to 200 non-injury accidents, or what we might reference as near misses. This pattern is sometimes portrayed as an iceberg, with the injuries as the visible tip of the iceberg and the at-risk behaviors hidden under the surface. Culture 2, number 7. Only perform duties that you have been trained to do. Always ensure you are competent and have the correct training before undertaking any task. If you have any doubts, stop work and discuss your concerns with your direct supervisor or a representative of the safety department. Proper risk assessments should identify tasks for which training or instructional guidance is required beyond initial position-related training. Culture 2, number 8. Use the correct equipment and or tools for the task. Never be tempted to use the wrong equipment and or tool for the job. Many accidents occur because people fail to choose the right equipment for the work to be completed. Controlling risk often means planning ahead and ensuring that suitable equipment and machinery is readily available. You inspect and verify that machinery and material are suitable for the work. Think about how and where it will be used. Ensure required checks and maintenance have been carried out and that you are competent to use the equipment you have selected. Culture 2, number 9. Stop any work that becomes unsafe or is not planned. If you have any doubts on whether the work that you're doing or your workplace is safe, stop work, inform your direct supervisor or someone from the safety department. You are obligated and you have the legal right to stop work if you feel you're in serious or imminent danger. Also, if you see someone else working unsafely, you should first exercise stop work and then involve their frontline supervisor. This is a requirement in accordance with company policy. Culture 2, number 10. Complacency kills. Be aware of normalization to risk. There are no shortcuts allowed. Do not be tempted to cut corners. One day your luck will run out and you will be hurt, or you may be responsible for injuring someone else. Obey the law, follow company policy and procedures, and be vigilant. Stop unsafe acts or non-compliant situations. There are 6 rules that make up our core rules section. Each rule correlates to at least one or more company policies or programs. Let's review. Number 1, confined space, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 7, Confined Space Program. Number 2, heights, working, ascending, and descending, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 20, Fall Protection Program. Number 3, safe lifting practices and suspended loads, line of fire, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 10, Crane Operating Procedures, and Section 56, which is the rigging program. Number 4, transportation. Operators shall plan trips, obey laws, and cellular usage is prohibited. This can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 14, Driver Safety, Fatigue, and Journey Management Program, and also Section 57, which is Safe Driving Practices. Number 5, permitting systems, working and regulating requirements, which can be cross-referenced to all permitting practices of the EHS Manual and also local, state, and federal regulations. Number 6, energy isolation, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 42, Lockout and Tagout Program. There are 8 rules that make up our supplementary rules section. Just as in our core rules, each rule correlates to at least one or more company policies and/or programs. Let's review. Number 7, hazardous atmospheric exposure, chemical and gas hazards, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 25, Gas Hazards, Section 7, Confined Space Program, and also Safe Work Practices for portable monitoring of receivables. Number 8, working around heavy equipment, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 10, Crane Operating Procedures, Section 19, Excavations, Section 24, Forklift Policy, and also Section 41, Loading and Unloading Transport Vehicles. Number 9, dropped objects, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 15, the Drops Objects Policy. Number 10, safety barriers and equipment guards, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 10, Crane Operating Procedures, Section 15, Drops Objects Policy, Section 28, Hand and Power Tools, etc. Number 11, severe weather, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 17, Emergency Action Plan and Fire Prevention. Number 12, proper personal protective equipment practices, which can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 26, General Safety Standards, Section 47, Noise Exposure Program, Section 52, Personal Protective Equipment Program, and also Section 54, which is the Respiratory Protection Program, etc. Number 13, Fit for Duty Health Management. This can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 21, Fatigue Management Policy, Section 23, Fit for Duty Policy, Section 31, Heat Illness Prevention, Section 34, Illness Reporting, Section 36, Job Competency, and also Section 40, which is the Light Duty Policy, etc. And number 14, Stop Work Authority associated with every rule. This is a very important rule to the PALS program because this rule is incorporated in every rule of the PALS program. And this can be cross-referenced to EHS Manual Section 62, Stop Work Authority Program. The PAL icon that depicts obtain authorization before entering a confined space looks as that displayed on the screen. A confined space such as a vessel, tank, container, and/or pipe can contain explosive gas, a poisonous atmosphere, or other dangers such as lack of oxygen, conditions of instability, or the possibilities of a fall. Proper space identification, hazard recognition, accurate permitting, continuous atmospheric monitoring, and authorized access will keep you safe and the company sustainable. If you are an entrant, you shall confirm with the supervisor or the person in charge of the work that it is safe to start work. Confirm with the attendant that you can enter a confined space. Follow the requirements of the work permit and always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. If you are the attendant, you shall control access and maintain the entry log of the confined space. Always have a means of communications with all entrants and evacuate the space in the event that conditions become hazardous. Do not at any time enter the confined space in an attempt to rescue. If you are the supervisor or person in charge of work, you shall confirm the requirements of the work permit and make sure everything is in place. Confirm a qualified attendant is always present when people are inside of the confined space. Confirm gas testing has been carried out according to the work permit. Confirm that it is safe to start work. Approve access prior to entry and routinely inspect work conditions with a purposeful presence. Encourage and support the use of intervention practices such as stop work authority at all times. The PAL icon that depicts protect yourself against a fall when working at heights, ascending and descending, looks as that displayed on the screen. Use fall protection equipment when working outside a protective environment where the risk of a fall exceeds 6 feet or greater. Examples of a protective environment includes approved scaffolding systems, working platforms with guardrails, and stairs with handrails. All such examples must meet industry regulations to deem the environment safe for the non-use of a fall arrest system. You shall have authorization to work at a height outside of a protective environment. Be aware of what fall protection equipment to use and how to use it properly. Thoroughly inspect the equipment before use. Plan to work by way of hazard identification. Capture the plan sequences by use of a job safety analysis process, and create a rescue plan to execute in the event of an emergency. And always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. If you are the supervisor or person in charge of work, you shall confirm that it is safe to start work at the height of the task as planned. Confirm that all safety measures have been addressed and captured prior to the commencement of work, and encourage and support the use of intervention practices such as stop work authority. The PALS icon that depicts follow safe lifting practices and never walk under suspended loads looks as that is displayed on the screen. Working with heavy lifting equipment and or around suspended loads requires extreme caution and awareness. Lifting procedures and rigging practices must remain compliant, be planned, controlled, and accurately suitable for the task. Lifting equipment includes any equipment used for lifting or lowering loads, along with attachments used for anchoring, fixing, or supporting. As an employee, you shall always participate in a pre-job meeting with regards to lifting operations prior to any lift. Always remain aware of your surroundings and activities of risk around you. Always report any concern, defect, and or visible damage in regards to lifting equipment immediately to the person in charge. Always know your qualified role and the designated roles of all lifting participants. Never cross a barrier controlling an area with a suspended load without authorization. Continuously inspect and minimize the potential for dropped objects when carrying out lifting operations. Follow the instructions of a designated signalman or the person in charge of a lifting operation. And always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts transportation safety looks as that is displayed on the screen. While in operation of a vehicle, there are many practices that you must adhere to in order to protect yourself from avoiding an accident or in the event of an incident. If you are the driver, you shall, before driving, perform a walk around of the vehicle, making sure that there's nothing in the way of travel. Conduct and document a vehicle inspection, making sure that the vehicle is ready for travel. Prepare the instruments of the vehicle for your required use. An example would be side mirrors, rear view mirrors, seat position, etc. Comply with the duty and the laws of driving, meaning you are not under the influence of drugs and or alcohol at any time of the vehicle operation. This is to include prescriptive medication that has side effects which can affect or impair you. If you are the driver, you shall, while driving, not use communication devices such as cellular phone or two-way radio, send or read text messages, or use a hands-free mobile phone device. Stay at or below the maximum allowable speed for the road in which you are driving on as indicated by the road signs or the journey management planning. Adjust your speed limit to the prevailing conditions. Maintain a safe traveling distance while in operation and also during idling stages of driving, such as intersections. Maintain 100% focus on the route in which you are traveling, and utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. If you are the passenger, you shall intervene if the driver is using a communication device while in position of operating a vehicle. Intervene if the driver is exceeding the maximum allowable speed or in violation of a safe traveling distance when following other vehicles. It is a requirement to utilize the seatbelt that is in all equipped vehicles. A seatbelt protects you from injury in the event of an incident while driving and also keeps you safe. Wearing seatbelts includes seatbelts in all equipped vehicles to include heavy machinery such as cranes, forklifts, etc. The PALS icon that depicts permitting systems, regulatory, and permits to work looks as that is displayed on the screen. This rule applies to all permitting systems, such as regulatory permitting from a local, state, or federal level, which authorizes the company to operate under certain requirements set forth by the governing agency, as well as a facility, project, or client-affiliated permit, such as confined space, hot work, job safety environmental analysis, hazard assessments, personal protective equipment assessments, etc. All for which that have been identified, all authorized activity in a systematic approach of capturing descriptions or a plan of requirements to perform a task to a standard or expectation, which keeps you safe and also the company compliant. As an employee, you shall understand the permitting system or work permit affiliated with your task and follow it. Confirm that the permitting system or work permit is valid. Confirm with the supervisor or the person in charge of work that it's safe to start work in the manner that it has been planned underneath the permit. Utilize stop work authority in the event of any concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts verify isolation before work begins looks as that is displayed on the screen. Isolation or lockout is the control of hazardous energy which separates you from danger such as electricity, pressure, toxic materials, poisonous gas, chemicals, hot liquids, or radiation to keep you safe. Specified processes such as positive isolation along with life-protecting procedures, devices, and equipment protect you and keep you away from danger. Tag out is the labeling process that shall always be used when lockout is required. The process of tagging out a system involves attaching or utilizing an indicator that includes the following information: reasoning for isolation or lockout, time and date of application of the lock and tag, and the name of the authorized person who has attached the tag and lock to the isolation system. As an employee, you shall understand the isolations that protect you from danger. Confirm with the supervisor or person in charge of the work that isolations are in place. Confirm with the supervisor or the person in charge of work that it's safe to start work. And always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts conduct atmospheric monitoring when required or when conditions are unknown looks as that is displayed on the screen. The quality of air or atmospheric conditions shall be tested to provide knowledge of hazardous conditions, prevent exposures, prevent explosions, and or confirm that the atmosphere is safe to breathe. As an employee, you shall confirm the quality of air has been tested when atmospheric conditions are unknown, there is knowledge of a hazardous presence, or the risk of a potentially high hazard. Confirm with the supervisor or the person in charge of work that it is safe to begin work or access the space. Immediately stop and evacuate the area if there are any indications of an atmospheric change for which you are not properly protected. Indications of a change can be a result of a monitoring alarm, visual discovery, a foul taste, and or smell. Re-entry to the area for air quality confirmation with a gas detector shall only be made by trained personnel utilizing adequate PPE at the most protective level. And utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. If you are the gas tester, you shall understand the factors of quality that are affiliated with the testing process, the equipment that is needed, the condition of the equipment required, and schedule of monitoring that is required by the permit. Use certified equipment that has been properly calibrated for the conditions in which you are testing. And you as well utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts working around heavy equipment looks as that displayed on the screen. Working around or in the line of fire of moving equipment such as cranes, excavators, forklifts, and other such vehicles require barriers, directional signage, and at times personnel to control the risk that is associated. This is also the same for energized equipment such as rotating machinery, pressurized lines and our equipment, and also electrical devices. All of the items included and many that have not been identified here can create unsafe conditions which can impact you if they're not recognized and also controlled. As an employee, you shall confirm the safety precautions with your supervisor or the person in charge of the work when working around or near moving energized equipment. Follow the instructions of the designated signalman or the person in charge for equipment movements. Always obey signage, familiarize yourself within the area that you will be working, and confirm with the person in charge that it is safe to enter and or work in the areas of restriction. Make sure the operator of the moving vehicle or that the controller of the equipment sees you. And always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts prevent dropped objects looks as that displayed on the screen. When utilizing tools and or portable equipment while working at heights, gravity is a significant risk as it relates to dropped objects. The practice of preventing objects from free falling keeps you and others working below you safe. As an employee, you shall secure all tools and equipment to prevent them from falling or being dropped. Place barriers around areas where there is a potential for dropped objects prior to commencement of work. Always be attentive to your surroundings as it relates to overhead work and hazards, and wear head protection. And as always, utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts safety barriers and equipment guards looks as that displayed on the screen. Working in and around a job site can pose many hazards where being in the line of fire or stationary openings are conditions. This can potentially increase your chance for a severe injury. Your work planning and sequential instructions shall detail safe guidance and at-risk positions. You are responsible for ensuring that you comply with the pre-task hazard identification or risk assessment, and that safe practices such as positioning and guarding are defined. As an employee, you shall confirm the safety precautions with the supervisor or person in charge of work when working near moving or energized equipment, lines that are under tension, and other hazards, etc. Always plan your work with a pre-task hazard hunt and the creation of work instructions for the task. Consider positions such as snapback zones, areas close to working at heights, or other such hazard areas with an elimination approach. Taking a chance is risk-taking action and is prohibited. Simultaneous operations require planning and compromise. Exercise proper control of vehicle movements. Ensure the work area is properly illuminated and the required personal protective equipment to be utilized is identified through a pre-task risk assessment. Protect yourself against slips, trips, and falls by using handrails and other safety equipment. Properly identify such by writing in your risk assessment what could you trip over. An example would be a 2-inch hose. Keep walkways clear of obstructions and maintain good housekeeping practices. Exercise proper utilization of machine guards. Always remain aware of your surrounding, walking, and working surfaces and activities that can create a risk around you. Never cross a barrier controlling an area with an open hole without authorization and the proper fall protection being utilized. Follow the instructions of the personnel in charge of controlling and or eliminating the open hole hazards. Utilize fall protection when in the vicinity of any uncovered or unguarded open hole. This includes the activities associated with building a barricade, etc. Utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. Please note, You are responsible for your safety and the safety of others. The company has a zero tolerance for insufficient or inadequate guarding or protection. The PALS icon that depicts severe weather looks as that displayed on the screen. Severe weather is very unpredictable and in many cases can be life-threatening if personnel are not familiar with planning, precautions, and the need to seek adequate shelter. Severe weather as per the company's plan is defined as sub-freezing temperatures, severe thunderstorms, lightning, tornadoes, and hurricanes or flooding. Planning and site preparation during all notification phases is a teamwork-based process intended to reduce the potential for personnel being injured or the damage to property, as well as any reduction and or restriction to operations due to severe weather. There are 4 advisory stages for severe weather: warning, watch, advisory, and outlook. An outlook is issued when hazardous weather is possible within a week. An advisory is issued when hazardous weather is occurring, imminent, or likely to occur. A watch is issued when the risk of hazardous weather has increased significantly. And a warning is issued when hazardous weather is occurring, imminent, or likely. Different than an advisory, a warning means weather conditions pose a threat to life and or property. Personnel in the path of the storm need to take protective action quickly. As an employee, in the event of severe weather, you must ensure that you fully comply with severe weather planning and preparedness. Halt all activities in which weather poses a threat to life and property, such as crane operations or working at heights, etc. Seek adequate shelters indoors. If you're within an open outdoor area, lie flat in the nearest ditch, depression, or ravine. Consider issues which can compromise your ability to work safely and act accordingly. And always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts always wear appropriate personal protective equipment when working looks as that is displayed on the screen. Within the work environment, there are many variables of risk. To minimize potential impact, employees are required to wear the proper personal protective equipment to include but not limited to head protection, safety glasses, hand protection, foot protection, etc. PPE in most cases is considered as the last line of defense as it relates to the hierarchy pyramid. Therefore, all tasks should be assessed and PPE selected accurate to the required protection level. PPE shall always meet regulatory requirements, be worn as designed and intended by the manufacturer, cared for with a high standards, and inspected before each and every use. As an employee, you shall always adhere to the minimum PPE standards. Always select the appropriate PPE accurate for the environment and the task, and never work without it. Always inspect PPE prior to use and ensure that it fits and it is worn properly. Always maintain and store PPE as suggested by the manufacturer. Always wear a personal flotation device when required. An example would be within 10 feet of having the potential of falling into a body of water. Such should be worn as intended, meaning sized correctly and fastened properly, etc. Practice proper dunning and doffing techniques with decontamination procedures when applicable. Hold others accountable for not wearing their PPE, and always utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PALS icon that depicts health management fit for duty looks as that displayed on the screen. You must be fit and able to perform all duties required of your position safely. As an organization, we adhere to many regulatory requirements and manage multiple systems. But the combination of your fitness to work and possessing the appropriate mindset to perform position-related tasks is best suited to be managed by you. Your personal ability to do the job safely is your obligation and also your responsibility. So as an employee, you must ensure that you fully comply with medical and fitness requirements of your position. A functional capacity evaluation for fitness confirmation may be required from time to time. You must ensure that you are suitably trained and competent to do the task which you are assigned. Not consume any drugs or alcohol or any other substances that might affect your performance and ability to perform your job safely. Consider issues which can compromise your ability to work safely, such as the use of prescription medication, physical and or mental fatigue, personal illness, heat exhaustion, thirst, fasting, etc. And utilize stop work authority in the event of concern or uncertainty. The PAL icon that depicts exercise your right to stop unsafe acts or conditions observed looks as that displayed on the screen. When in doubt about the safety of an operation, stop the work, notify someone of authority, ask questions, or propose your concerns. Make any desired adjustments if need be, and resume and proceed with the operation. As an Ecoserv employee or a contractor of Ecoserv, you are empowered, and it is your obligation to stop work that does not follow safe work practices. The supervisor or person in charge will then determine if a permanent work stoppage is necessary. There will be no repercussions. This is our commitment to you. The process is your responsibility. You have the authority, and we hold you accountable. Stop, notify, investigate, correct, and resume. Stop work authority is a rule that is incorporated in every rule, therefore an obligation of every employee of the organization. We appreciate it and we support it. Just as many other rules in life, the rules that we have all just discussed, or should I say reviewed, if violated, have consequences. Let's review some of these consequences or the guidelines that are associated with the rules, should I say. In the event of a system or unintentional error, there are 5 categories. A system error is the violator did not receive documented training or follow instructions or procedures that led to the violation. A routine error. This is the type of error that has been made by an employee or a group of employees as an acceptable way of doing the job. A benign infringement. The violator thought that it was better for the company to do it that way, or considered the job could not be done if the procedures were followed. Poor awareness or understanding. The violator demonstrates poor risk awareness and or understanding of the impact of his or her actions. Slips and laps. Actions that did not proceed as planned. Examples would be something had to be done twice, the wrong way, or a step was forgotten. Now we have deliberate violations. Under this, we have 2 categories. Reckless infringement. The person thought it was better for them to personally do it that way. They took a longer break, or they had to get away a little early, so they rushed things. Malicious infringement or sabotage. The person committing the violation acted as so with intentional negligence of the consequences or to actually cause harm. All violations will be properly investigated with techniques to give rules on final determinations. As we previously discussed the guidelines and how the guidelines or rules could be violated, let's talk about how violations will be managed. Under the category of system or unintentional error, you will see if it was determined to be a system error, no disciplinary consequences will be applied. It's about growing our employees. If it's determined to be a routine error, a benign infringement, poor awareness or understanding, slips or laps, we will follow our disciplinary program. And at that point in time, progressive disciplinary consequences will be applied. If it's determined to be a deliberate violation, reckless infringement, malicious infringement, or sabotage, the strictest disciplinary consequences will be applied in accordance with the company's disciplinary policy. This does include a deliberate violation could constitute immediate employment separation or the termination of an employment contract. Let's spend some time and review visual references as that which will be placed on locational signage. As seen on the screen, there are 2 categories broken up into 4 subcategories. In each, you will see all of the icons that we have previously reviewed. For the core rules category and subcategory for personal safety, you will find number 1, confined space. Number 2, heights, working. This includes ascending and descending. And also number 3, safe lifting practices, suspended loads, line of fire. Under the subcategory for transportation safety, you'll find number 4, the icon for transportation. Under the subcategory for site safety, you will find number 5, permitting systems. This is working and regulating requirements. Under the support category for control of work, you will find number 6, energy isolation, which is your lockout tagout icon. As it relates to your supplementary rules, subcategory personal safety, number 7 is hazardous atmosphere exposure, chemical gas hazards. Number 8, working around heavy equipment. Number 9, dropped objects. And number 10, safety barriers and equipment guards. Under the subcategory for site safety, you'll find number 11, severe weather. Number 12, proper personal protective equipment practices. Number 13, fit for duty health management. And under your subcategory for control of work, you will find number 14, stop work authority, which is associated with every rule. Having just reviewed the icons, let's look to the bottom left of the screen. This is where you will find the rules listed in chronological order. To the bottom right of the screen, you will find our assets and our pillars icon. Accident prevention is the responsibility of all employees and requires the continued effort and participation of each individual. Safety is a team effort, and by identifying, eliminating, or mitigating workplace hazards, we can prevent all accidents, which ultimately protects our people, equipment, and the environment. PALS is your program. It's our high-five way to save lives. As a department and an organization, we strive to serve and support your employment needs as it relates to environmental, health, and also safety. Your health and safety and that of your coworkers, as well as the protection of our environment, should always be given prime consideration in every activity you participate. As an employee, at every level of position of the company, you have been trained and shall exercise your authority to utilize stop work authority practices when needed to achieve a better understanding on how to proceed safely and prevent unsafe acts without worry or repercussion. Safety is ultimately an individual mindset, which is contagious to others and realistically affects the infrastructure of the entire company. This concludes the presentation session of the PALS launch. Thank you for your attention and participation, and I look forward to being your pal in the workplace. Excellence is achievable and can be obtained together.